Well, joining us this morning, some folks from the Titusville Alumni Association. We have the newly retired Ron Wig,
morning,
former executive director. We'll talk about that in a second, and the incoming executive director, Tambra Sabatini. Hello.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ron, let's start with you. First of all, congratulations.
Thanks, Luke.
I think you're kind of in the midst of like your first day in retirement, and then we ask you to come in and do this. So
yeah, it
thank
was an
you.
easy time to get up this morning. I knew it was going to be fun, so
Yeah,
no problem.
Well, I said to you, I think last week, it's great. I'll see like a post from your wife at like 5 a.m. or something. So she's early, right?
She's an early birder. She's usually up by 4 o'clock every morning and lets the dog out and all those good things. Coffee's ready when I get up, so I'm looking forward to a good retirement here.
There you go.
Well, we'll have to get your plans here a little bit later. But first, again, congratulations. Tell us about your time with the Alumni Association.
Well, I had the benefit, Luke, of being on the board for a period of time prior to becoming the director, and I think that was helpful for me to get a good feel for what the organization did. And I've always been supportive of THS since I graduated there in '77. Back in the dark ages of leather helmets and all those good things. But I've been there a little over 11 years, and time has just passed very quickly there in that job. It's a fun job. It's a job that pays a lot of benefits for the students that we help out with the scholarships. And, of course, we love putting our paper out. We get so many good comments about our alumni news. We've grown the organization phenomenally over this period of time. And the thing a lot of people don't realize, we've tripled our endowment money over that same period of time, but it also paid for all of our overhead while we've been there, the director's cost, the paper cost, and everything. So we're paying our own way, with the exception that the school's very gracious to provide space for us there in the school. But it's kind of a neat thing when you look back over that period of time and to see where we've grown and what we've been able to do, and we look forward to many good years ahead with Tambra.
And you're the second director?
Second director. Margaret Feely was the first one. In on the ground floor to get things going with Ron Joyce and Ken Winger and that group.
That's wonderful. And again, going from a board member to the director, I mean, that's, as you said, that provides a lot of input and experience, doesn't it?
It did. I think I was there a little less than 2 years, but that's long enough to get a good feel for what's going on. And at the time that I joined, they were in need of some financial direction, and I think I knew I kind of brought that to the table. So the talents that you bring are your own, and I think it was important for the organization at that point in time.
Well, I want to ask you about your background and in just a moment, but first, Tambra, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
When you found out about this opportunity, what went through your mind?
I'm like, first of all, I saw it in the paper. I hadn't even known yet. I'm thinking, oh no, can I get in on this? I want in. I wanted to actually do it years ago, and I wasn't, timing was off. He came in, which was perfect. Timing and seasons for everyone has the right thing. So I just couldn't wait to jump on and immediately messaged the board president, Barb Ives, and said, is it still open? So she said, yeah, get it in. So I did, and had a great time talking to the board and getting started.
I'm sure you look at the newsletter, and it probably just brings a lot of excitement. Like, wow, this is a great organization. I mean, to the point, Ron, where other schools are calling and asking, "How did you guys do this?"
Right. Over the years, Luke, I've had the opportunity to talk with a few schools who have wanted to institute what we've done, and so we're happy to share our game plan with other people, and they've taken our hints and moved on with their own programs. But early on, we were one of the only high school alumni associations around.
Well, Tambra, for you, with this opportunity, what do you hope to bring to the table?
Well, where Ron definitely brought financial strengths and the solidity that we needed in developing that in that season of growth and everything. Anybody who knows me or has encountered me knows that I bring a lot of social media, multiple aspects of connecting, networking people, and that's just the very social side of it that I'd like to bring in and make sure that we can get everybody connected, share the stories. I'm kind of having a field day right now of overwhelm, looking through all the records and papers, and I'm thinking this is so much fun because I want to do a lot of fun scanning and sharing the information and hearing the people share their stories back, because that's what's so important. And I even came into the board, I said, we have such an amazing legacy here, and other schools don't have it. Over the course of the last week, I've talked with a lot of people, and they're often saying to me, wow, we don't have anything like that here. But we have such a passion from Titusville High School graduates, and it's just fun to see. It's great stories. They have a heart towards each other in the community, and it's created a great legacy.
Almost to the point of being annoying, I think. No, but seriously, I've heard that from other people.
That's not a bad thing.
You hear that from like spouses when somebody marries somebody from outside of town.
True.
Ron, I know you've heard these stories, right? Where they'll be like, oh yeah, that's all they talk about is Titusville. Titusville. Had to visit Titusville.
Very true. Very true. We're proud of all that we have to offer here in Titusville.
Yeah.
So.
It must be something in the water. I don't know what it is. And other communities, of course, around here are great. But it is a special organization. You know, Ron, what are the things you hope Tambra takes with her in this position? What are those things that I'm sure it's been a busy couple of weeks going through, you know, here's everything.
He's on speed dial.
Yeah, but what are those things you really hope she takes and carries on?
Well, Tambra kind of laid it out there. I think the important part that she mentioned was the legacy, and that's exactly what we have. We've created a legacy here. Our students expect that we're going to have significant financial assets available to them for scholarship. And obviously, we're not the only ones that give out scholarships. I mean, the numbers are phenomenal, Luke, what we can provide to our students. We're up to about $45,000 a year is what we provide to each graduating class in scholarship money. And one of my things that I hope we do moving forward is to try and put more years onto those scholarships. We're very good at getting that first year out there. We do have some multiple year scholarships so that they're getting funding all 4 years. But as growth continues in our investments, and you know the market's in pretty rough shape right now, so it's down a bit. But as that comes back and we get new donors, I'd like to see more years added to our single year scholarships, and that's something that Tambra and I have talked about. Now we've only had a week together since Tambra's been hired, so I'm still planning on being on speed dial, as she said.
Please,
and,
thank you.
You know, scholarship season's coming up, and that's a whole new area that we need to spend some time on.
You mentioned the financial background, and that seemed probably like a different life, even though you carried some of that over with you here. But what was it about this position, this job, that you found exciting or that was different from the other side of your professional career?
It was like a whole new world to me, Luke, and I think the fact that, you know, I grew up in Titusville, I played varsity football, I was involved in everything in the school, and I did well in the high school, and something I always had a fond memory for. So once I joined the board, that was kind of the reasoning behind it, that I felt that Titusville's given me a lot of opportunity to go on to college and do the things that I did in my financial career. And it was just an opportunity. I had the time, the opportunity to give back, and it's been a good job for me for the past 11 years.
Tambra, you're no stranger to the workings of this community. What you mentioned some of those strengths that you want to bring in that quick interview process, but did you have the time to kind of present? Because I know you're an idea person, so
Very much.
Did you have enough time to get the ideas together?
I tried not to overwhelm them.
Okay, yeah.
But I actually, one of the pieces, and we were just talking here on this, is about the scholarships. And my oldest daughter, and Terry, years ago had said, you know, here's a path that would be great for your daughter, and make sure she looks at these things and works forward towards these things. So she went ahead and applied to Allegheny College, applied for the scholarships at the school, applied for the multi-year scholarships, and she went out every year and did this. And I was so obviously appreciative and grateful that she had the opportunities to do that. That was one of the things I brought into the board with the interview the other night, was the fact that we've personally received from this community so that, you know, my oldest daughter could go on to college and continue on moving forward. And she's been doing great things because of that. Doors open because of those scholarship opportunities. And it's a great opportunity for me to give back, to look at more opportunities and continue to educate, inform, make aware. You know, there are scholarships that aren't claimed every year. You know, we want to make sure that the families know these are out there, get these kids working towards these things, you know, let them know, don't sit back, go after something, because there's ways to help you make it through the college programs.
Yes, and you hear from those families all the time, right? Like, oh, the cost of what?
Right. Yeah, one book, one textbook.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
A little bit better than, yes, absolutely.
It really helps. It makes a big difference.
Well, so. And you know, Ron, I'm sure, you know, there's families too that kind of are figuring out, is it worth that investment? You know, can we stress our lives to let this happen? And, you know, again, a little bit of money can go a long ways.
That's for sure. And we've also been pushing the technical scholarships as well, Luke, as you know, there's a lot of information out there about the salaries that are available for people who get technical degrees and go on to do those kinds of things. So in the last year, we've added 4 new tech scholarships for kids going on to get
excellent
certifications. And so that there's lots of good options there. And I also think parents are being a little more introspective when they look at the type of degrees their students are getting. They realize they want some return on that money. And, you know, you want to be, if you can get your kid into a STEM program that's going to pay in the end, that's probably better to, if they're that type of student, to push them that direction.
And I think education has switched gears on that too, where it's not just, hey, you have to go to college, you have to do this.
Check that check mark.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than just that. Let's do this real quick. You're watching the Morning Drill on Stream Television and on Armstrong's Neighborhood Channel, and listening to it on the Allegheny News Talk Sports Network. We have Ron Wig and we have Tambra Sabatini with us here this morning, Titusville Alumni Association. Ron, how important was it for you before retiring to kind of make sure you have your things, you know, kind of check marked off and accomplished before passing everything over to Tambra? Does she have that special key, or are you waiting for that?
The executive washroom key?
Yeah, is that what it is?
Yeah, I passed her 2 keys. So.
I have 2 keys.
Yeah, we're all set. Luke, it's an ongoing process with this organization. I mean, we're all, you know, my focus again has all been about growth and communication with our grads, and it just seems to be from one season to the next. Like I said, these 11 years have just flown by in a heartbeat. So it's like you're always kind of moving into the next season. It's scholarship, it's a paper coming out, it's whatever it is, and it's never ending. But it's really been a ball. It's a lot of fun, and I convey that to Tambra, that, you know, have a lot of fun with this. Yes, we're talking about a lot of paperwork stuff and financial records and things that will just become second nature to her down the road. But the cool thing about this is it is a really fun job. You talk to a lot of great people. They all have Titusville and THS in common with you. And I think of one story where we reunited a class ring with a lady who, she and her husband at the time was a boyfriend. They lost it years ago up at the beach in Erie. And it was found 30 years later by a fellow that owns one of the Erie businesses up there. And he called me and said, I found this ring. Funny. We went back and did the research, found this lady. She had married the fellow who lost the ring. He had since passed away. But it was such a cool story to have that ring reunited. She came down and we went to lunch and presented the ring to her. And, you know, just a small thing of getting a class ring back to somebody and the heartstrings that pulled. And I'll remember that all my life.
That's great. Well, you mentioned the research part of it. I think there's been a couple times I've called you for something we were doing, and you're like, yeah, I'll check. And, you know, you've emailed or snapshot, you know, it was in this yearbook. Or so there's that research part of it, too. That's a lot of fun. And I'm sure you can kind of get lost. It's like probably watching something on YouTube, you know, an hour later, you go,
how does the rabbit hole go?
Yeah, how did I get here? You know, you probably open up one book and it just leads you to 1,000 other things.
Well, Margaret was phenomenal at the things that she was able to keep record of. And I mean, she cut all the articles out of the Herald for anything to do with any of our students. So there's books from Herald articles. There's pictures of every sports team. There's every yearbook that we have back to like 1912. Wow. And an interesting thing is to go back and look at your parents, what they did in high school. Mine graduated in 47 and 48, and it was fun to see that side of my parents, to see what they were.
Did you want to see that side of them?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Sure.
It was very interesting. So,
Tambra, for you, you know, again, as Ron's saying, you know, it's more than just one thing. I mean, there's 1,000 things you can do. How important is it for you to kind of, do you make lists? Do you kind of say, okay, these are the things I'm going to focus on? Where do you start?
Whole year at a glance. Start thinking ahead what we want to accomplish by the end of the year. Of course, some things are already set in motion because we have the scholarship season coming heading right into it now. Even the students already have their booklets and can go down and get their applications, get that rolling. Those are due by April 17th. If your students, your youngsters are looking, your grandchildren, whatever, get them in there and get those scholarship applications in. Then we're going to be rolling right into the end, the end of the school year. And primarily we'll be heading into the all-school reunion, the Weekend of Oil Festival, which will be down at the Ironworks this time again. And I think this is the second time for this. And that's a great opportunity. I mean, if no one's participated in that event, the all-school reunion is a unique experience because, when you go to your own class reunion, you see these guys, but then you get everybody above and below you and all the families connected. It's just a very unique experience. So we'll be rolling into that, and I have a big surprise I'm hoping to get done in time for that is going to do some research between now and then, a new project that I'm going to push off here. I've already started digging into. And we'll get back to that another time.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And then we'll just go right on into the whole start of the next school year and get that rolling as well. So the whole year, we just start thinking ahead, and we'll be doing a lot more planning over the next month here.
That's great. So, and I'll ask both of you, but Ron, the newsletters come out, like twice a year?
Twice a year, in December and June.
Are you surprised at the feedback? I mean, do you get feedback from an article and you go, oh, okay, I didn't expect people to really like or enjoy this, but they do, and maybe others you expect, oh, this is going to be great, and what's that been like?
Yeah, it goes both ways. I would say overwhelmingly the response is positive. The people that we get emails and calls from are usually our big supporters, and they're saying, oh, I really like this particular article, and of course I do get my calls. You inadvertently list my dad as deceased, and he's still with us. which is not a thing to laugh at, but it happens. Usually the folks are laughing when they call me and they say, gee, Dad read this in the Alumni News, and so sometimes things get miscategorized, or somebody will call in and report of an obituary.
It's a lot of people you're looking after, though. That
multiple
happens.
Thousands.
Yeah, we're up to about 8,000 on our grad list, and we send out to about that's a little over 6,000 homes get our paper twice a year. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Is there an article that really stands out in your mind over the last 11 years?
Yes.
I keep mentioning angle ball just because that was one of the weird sports that took off one time in Titusville, and I don't know, Chip Williams and a few of the older guys that played that sport. And it was a front page in the Titusville Herald. It was a front page of one of our Alumni News, and it was going to be the big sport that was going to take off, and it was angle ball. So do you know what it is?
I don't know.
Okay.
I still have to read that.
Angle ball was done on the football field, and they had a 25-foot post with a big soccer ball up on top of it, and you had an object ball, and you played it like football. You had to run over your guys and get to the other end of the field, throw this object ball, and knock the soccer ball off the top of this post. That's how you scored.
Really?
And it was, a phenomenally aggressive game. It was like Australian rules football.
There you go.
Wow.
But
Too fun.
I'm not sure why it didn't take off, but it was proposed as, the next sport that's going to be a high school sport. But
I won't even ask how long it did last.
not very long.
Tambra, for you on just the research part of the paper and uncovering stories like that, that's got to be exciting for you to kind of go through, because you have some of that in your background.
I do. I definitely do. I have a publishing background as well. Plus, I'm a big researcher anyways. And I like the adventures of life, so those all come together. But we have multiple past members of the board, current members of the board, alumni who all have story ideas, or they'll see something that will trigger a thought about, a story that they want to include, and they'll write it up. So a lot of the stories seem to be written not just from in-house, but others send them in to help us stimulate what we put into the newspaper. So
Right.
It's kind of, everybody has a story, and then that triggers another story.
I'll interject here just because I want to give some shout out to J.L. Love, because he has written some phenomenal articles, and his time back in the early 70s and the gang of people that he ran around with, he just has a way of conveying that message of what Titusville was like back in the 70s and what you did back then, and it's kind of neat. So.
I think part of it, that excitement and just being proud, to be from here. I think you get a sense of that when you go through and read what other people are doing. You're proud of them, and you might not even know them, but you go, "Oh, that's exciting that somebody from here is off in the world doing that."
Right.
And that's fantastic. Well, Ron, again, before we wrap up here, congratulations on a great career.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Luke.
You won't be disappearing from the community, I don't think.
No, we're planning on staying. Hope to do a little traveling, but we're gonna remain here in town.
All right, so you'll be around. And Tambra, congratulations.
Thank you.
And all the best to you.
I
and
appreciate that.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
New seasons, new opportunities. So.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Fun.
All the best. Take care, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke.
Thanks, Luke.